In 2026, here's an uncomfortable truth about Britain. Most people don't stay in their jobs because they love them. They stay because the mortgage demands it. Every Monday morning, millions of us log on, not out of ambition, but out of obligation, to a lender we've never even met. We call it a career. But for an awful lot of people, it's closer to a sentence. That's the career cage. And today, we're revealing the one figure that quietly unlocks it. It's called the survival number. It's the exact mathematical threshold where you stop working for the bank and start working for yourself. It doesn't require a lottery win, and it doesn't require a promotion. It just requires you to understand a piece of maths that the financial industry would honestly prefer you never worked out. So what actually is it? Your survival number is the monthly cost of your pulse. It's the bare minimum a couple needs to simply exist in this country. Council tax, groceries, utilities, and insurance, once the mortgage is gone. For most households, that lands at around £1,200 per month. That's it. That's the true cost of keeping the lights on, food on the table, and a roof that already belongs to you. Now compare that to the anchor dragging on your entire working life. Across the home counties, the average monthly mortgage payment now sits close to £1,500. And for the average Briton, that single payment represents over 40% of their career anxiety. Sit with that for a second. It's not the workload keeping you awake at 3 in the morning. It's not your manager. It's the direct debit. The job is just the delivery mechanism for the mortgage. Let me show you what that debt actually does to a person. Picture carrying a £300,000 mortgage at 5%, the new normal we're all living in now. Living with that is like living at the very top of a mountain, where the air is dangerously thin. You can breathe, just about. You survive. But every career move, taking a risk on a startup, asking for a flexible schedule, walking into your boss's office to push back on something, feels like a massive, desperate gasp for air. You're mathematically breathless. Your lungs are working overtime just to keep you standing upright, and you don't even notice anymore because you've never known anything else. Now, paying off that mortgage, that's like being teleported instantly down to sea level. Suddenly the air is thick and heavy with oxygen, and that oxygen is cash flow. You can move, you can run, you can jump, and you never once feel that pressure crushing your chest. Same body, same person, same skills. Completely different atmosphere. The mountain didn't move. You simply stopped living on it. And here's the part almost nobody explains properly. Debt freedom is the ultimate legal tax shelter. Think about it carefully. To hand the bank £1,000 of mortgage payment, you don't earn £1,000. You have to earn roughly £1,700, because before that money ever lands in your account, HMRC and National Insurance take their share straight off the top. So when you finally clear the debt, you're not just saving the payment itself, you're erasing the invisible tax friction sitting on top of it. And this is where it gets genuinely powerful. Reduce the income you're forced to earn by £20,000 a year, and something remarkable happens to your tax position. You can slide back below the £50,270 line, dropping out of the higher rate bracket entirely. In an era of frozen thresholds and relentless fiscal drag, where wage rises quietly shove more of us into higher tax every single year, that's not a small win. That's you legally stepping out of the taxman's tightest grip on purpose. This is where your whole posture at work transforms. When the mortgage owns you, you play defense. You're the one quietly terrified of redundancy. You say yes to every unreasonable ask. You never rock the boat. You never speak up in the meeting, because the risk feels enormous. And the fence, well, we'll get to the fence in a moment. But once you hit your survival number, you go on a fence. You start setting boundaries and actually holding them. You choose your projects instead of simply accepting your projects. You ask for the raise, and you mean it, precisely because you genuinely don't need it. You stop negotiating from fear and start negotiating from freedom. And believe me, everyone in that room can feel the difference. Same desk, same job title. But you've quietly become a fundamentally different employee, because your income is now a choice rather than a leash. Here's the clearest way I can describe that shift. Your mortgage is an invisible, electric fence built around your entire life. You stay inside the safe zone, the steady, reliable, predictable job, because that fence is simply too high and too painful to climb. Every time you drift toward the edge, towards something riskier or freer or more exciting, you feel the jolt. So you back away, you stay put, year after year. Paying off the mortgage is the exact moment you turn off the power. And here's the strange, beautiful part. The fence doesn't disappear. It's still standing right there in front of you. But now, you can walk straight through it into any field you choose. The world around you didn't actually get any bigger. Your permission to move just became absolute. Let me put this in real, human terms. Imagine waking up on any random morning, right at the start of the work week, and quietly doing the maths in your head. With your survival number this low, you only need to work about 2 days a month just to exist. 2 days. Everything past that, every other hour of your entire month, belongs completely to you. Not to the bank, not to your employer, to you and to the people you love. That's the feeling we're chasing here. That's what's actually on the other side of this number. Now, let's talk about what you do with all that freed up money, because this is where it becomes genuinely exciting. Once you've cleared the mortgage and covered your survival number, that £1,500 payment doesn't just vanish into thin air. You redirect it. Pour that exact same monthly figure into a global index fund, held inside a stocks and shares ISA, or topped into a SIP for the tax relief on the way in. And the entire equation flips over in your favor. The very payment that was quietly draining you for years now compounds for you instead. Do it consistently, month after month, and you build a genuine fortress of independence in less than a decade. The mortgage payment that once trapped you becomes the precise engine that sets you free. That's the freedom mirror, the same number, reflected, running in the opposite direction. So how do you actually seize control of this? Call it the manual override, and it comes in 2 moves. First, calculate your specific survival number. Add up the true essentials, with no mortgage anywhere in the equation. Council tax, groceries, utilities, insurance, and find your real floor. Be honest, but be ruthless. For a great many couples, it genuinely lands right around that £1,200 mark. Second, hunt down the final stretch of your debt. Treat the last £50,000 not as a burden to be endured, but as a career launchpad. That final block is the single most powerful money you'll ever overpay, because it's the last thing standing between you and switching the fence off for good. Throw everything defensible at it. Bonuses, windfalls, side income, the lot. Every pound you clear off that final 50,000 buys back a physical piece of your own life. Because here's the real lesson of wealth in Britain in 2026. It was never about the size of your house, it's about the silence of your debt. The quietest, freest, most powerful people in this country aren't the ones with the biggest kitchens or the longest driveways. They're the ones whose front door is completely, permanently paid for. When there's no lender attached to your home, that front door stops being a cage for your ambitions and finally becomes a foundation for your choices. So find your survival number, turn off the fence, and go and breathe. If this video helped, like and hit subscribe. We'll see you in the next one.